No.3 は睡眠改善。
Welcome to the lazyfluency podcast, where we have casual conversations switching between English and Japanese so that you can learn from and with us along the way. I'm Joey.
And I'm Miami.
And the topic of the day is 2024 resolutions. Before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and or drop a review to our platform you're listening on. We appreciate the support. And with that out of the way, 2024 resolutions. Happy New Year! It's probably not New Year's Day. Maybe it's the day after New Year's Day. I would have to do math. But anyways, it comes another year ends. And this is the first year, technically, that we've had a full year of doing the podcast the entire year, if I'm remembering correctly. So congratulations, whatever. Do we start 2022? I think this podcast?
I guess. Like, 2年ぐらいじゃない始めてから。だから、2年ちょっと渡ってるよ。
Yeah, so not 2 years in total time, but this is the first full year from beginning to end we've been doing the podcast. And today we're talking about 2024 resolutions. Not ours yet. Our specific resolutions will be in the final section of this episode, because today we are specifically talking about the most popular resolutions in Japan and the United States. We'll be going over both sequentially, I guess. I haven't even I've looked at part of the American list, haven't looked too closely at the Japanese list. And we will see what lies in here and our thoughts and all the things in between. Do you want to start with let's start from the bottom. So we both have a separate data ranking different age profiles, or do you want to start with the top, like the most sought after things?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, cool. So
this 5 ぐらいでいいんじゃない?
Okay, cool. We'll start from number 5 then, I guess. Yeah. We'll start, so number 5 for 2024, according to survey data, I don't know who's Minchale, whatever. Some survey data done, for people upcoming 2020 resolutions. What is number 5?
そうね、なんか習慣化したいことランキングっていうので、まあランキングがありまして、で、これは何歳から何歳までなんだろう。けど311人に、アンケートを取って、で、5番目はですね、みんな、まあ多分考えてるだろう。まあ、ダイエット。で、ここにダイエット、有酸素運動って書いてあって面白いなと思って。で、その次は何次。そのまま。
Oh, no. Well, I want to compare it with the... Wait, 有酸素運動 is like...
まあ、エアロビックの運動で、まあ、ランニングだったり、あと水泳スイミングも入るのかな有酸素だと。
But also, why is it... am I misunderstanding the word for diet in Japanese? I thought diet was related to food.
そう、そう、面白いね、ここね。まあ、English and Japanese Learning のパーキャストだから、まあ、ダイエットっていう言葉は日本語だと、もう体重を減らすとか、まあ、健康になることをダイエットっていうの。で、英語だと、ダイエットっていうもう単語自体はさ、食事っていう意味じゃん。ね。
Yeah.
そう。だけど、日本語だと、Go on a diet っていうもうフレーズが、ダイエットっていうもう名詞になって、だからもう運動とか体重減らすいい、健康的な生活をするっていうのがダイエットっていうの。だから逆にダイエット食はそうねダイエット食って言ったり、あと低カロリー食とか、まあ制限食とかいうダイエットはね。ダイエットのためのダイエットは。そう。
I mean, there is, I guess, even with English, although it doesn't necessarily mean exercise, diet, I think people have the idea that diet means a specific, like, short-term thing that someone's doing to lose weight, where diet also has the meaning of what somebody consumes, like, for food. So everybody has a diet, but dieting, I guess, is specifically changing your normal habit in order to lose weight, or just changing your normal, one way you eat into another way you eat. Also, interestingly, the survey data I also have, this is U.S. adult citizens, to be clear. Number 5 also falls under eating healthier for the goal. In terms of percentage, it was the 20% of the survey. I don't have the total amount, but I think they were questioned in October about their, I think this is, or maybe November, about their upcoming 2024 resolutions. And yeah, eating healthier. 20% of the respondents, which would be top 5, said that they want to eat healthier. So that's, I guess it's not the same because this was, you're specifically talking about exercise.
そうなんかね、日本のその習慣化したいランキングの中に、ダイエット関連のことがね結構あってダイエットって書いてあって、その後にカッコ付けであるのが、まずさっき言った有酸素運動っていうのと、あと筋トレとヒート HIIT。
What is HIIT?
あれだよ、なんか短時間でなんか集中してカロリーブーンして、で集中して休んで集中してやってっていうのを繰り返す。だから60秒なんだバーピーだっけ、バーピーして10秒休んで60秒やってって、なんかそれを繰り返しすると、なんかすごいカロリーの、消費が多くて、ダイエットによっていうのがヒートっていう運動なんだけど、それがカテゴリーとしてあって、でもう一つは体重記録っていうのがダイエットのまた別の項目としてあって、でダイエット食事カロリー制限っていうのもあるから、もうなんかダイエット系のが結構並んでるっていうのがなんかすごい面白いなと思って。
Yeah, in the let me check real quick. There's some stuff that you could sort of say is sort of similar to that in this list, but diet really is only one thing. There's losing weight, which is below here, but eating healthier, I guess, maybe you could say those are related. It's interesting. The number 4 seems like it might be the same as number 5. What is the number 4 for the Japanese list?
ウォーキングなんかウォーキングもさ、ダイエット有酸素運動に入ると思うんだけど、なんでここ分けたのかはちょっとよくわからないけど、ナンバー4は一応ウォーキングって書いてある。
What does that even mean? That's a goal? Are they not walking or walking enough for exercise?
だからなんて言うんだろう、私の感覚だと、人と違うかもしれないけど、通勤の時に電車でちょっと歩く、電車っていうか駅とかでちょっと歩くじゃん。あれはウォーキングに入らないんだよ。けど例えば駅から職場とか駅から学校まで普通ならタクシーであったりバスとか使っちゃう人が、そこをあえてそういうのを使わずに歩いていくようにしたいっていうのがウォーキングとかに入るんじゃないですか。それか仕事終わりに運動としてウォーキングに行くっていうのでウォーキングが入ってる気がする。
If these were Americans, I would accept walking as a New Year's resolution because it is very hard not to walk. If someone's New Year's resolution as a Japanese person, when it is trivially easy to walk and walking is like the fastest way to get to most places, you're being a lazy piece of shit. Choose a different that is not a resolution. You're already doing it every day. You do it more than like every other country. You're just not choosing a New Year's resolution. And that's fine, but pretending like you're choosing one and saying walking, we know it's not, you just don't want to do any exercise. You do plenty of walking already. You know what I'm saying? Like the most efficient way to get most places is by walking in Japan. So I don't understand, unless if they're doing what they're saying that you're doing, where they're saying, let's take something where I normally don't walk and make it walking. Most things are walking. Most things are, I don't know what you'd even, unless you're living in Inaka and you're taking a car, what would you change from walking to non-walking? Instead of the train? Instead of taking the train, you're going to walk?
Instead of the train. それも、it can work じゃない？例えばさ、例えば東京だとさ、じゃあ山手線でいいや。山手線のさ、一駅から一駅の間が結構短いじゃん。普通にウォーカボーディスタンスなの。
Okay, it's like 20 minutes. That's actually a pretty big, like,
違う。
40 minutes a day if you wanted to like walk just from one.
違う。歩いて多分10分とか15分で次の駅のエリアに行けるんだよ。だからそこを、普段は電車で移動してる分をちょっと、じゃあ降りて、ウォーキングしてみようかなとかっていうのもウォーキングに入るよ。
I doubt on average, I think it's like 20 minutes between two stations, which is like 40 minutes a day. So I guess if you're doing that specifically, you can add walking to your New Year's resolution. But to me, it seems so interesting that that's number 4. Like, I just don't think there are that many people who have something that they could substitute with walking instead of. Like in America, you can't substitute walking, but you can, maybe you can say, I'm going to take the stairs when I see stairs. But generally speaking, it's, like you have to, out of your way, say, I have this time that is separate from my commute time, and then I need to put that into, like, walking. And that's fine. I think that it can be resolution, but to me, that just seems like, you're like, what are you doing? I don't know, walking more probably. Anyways, number 4. Oh, Huh? These are so similar. Wait, okay, that is the Japanese list. Yeah, the number 4 for the American response list, and yeah, the same order is improving physical health, which I'm gonna say is probably the same as walking. Although more explicit, I guess. I'm not surprised about that one. And interesting, we were just looking at a video earlier that showed, I believe they were talking about the science of New Year's resolutions, and apparently, if you make a resolution around New Year's, it is 10 times more likely that you will still be following that resolution 6 months in. I don't know what data was being referenced, but it was something like, normally, if you make a resolution at any point of the year, 6 months later, only like 7% or 6 or something percent of people will stick around with it. Maybe it was even less than that, maybe 4% to do the math. But then if you make the resolution around New Year's and then check back in 6 months later, it's 46%. So maybe it was like 4.2% or something with the first one. So
だからまあ新年っていろいろなまあ区切れ目だし、もうさっき言ったようになんか成功率がマジで10倍とか言ってまあテッドのなんかそういうちゃんとしたリサーチャーが言ってて、だから普段ね、まあダイエットしようとかね思っててもさ、なんかいい区切れ目がないからさ、なんかなーなーになってそのままずるずるいって結局はまあできなかったとかあるからね、新年はいいなんていうの目標の設定時期だと思う。
Yeah, what is number 3?
Number 3は睡眠改善。まあね、これはまあなんか2024年に限ったことじゃなく、なんか結構もうね過労死とかもあるし、もう日本人は働きすぎなんだよ。でこれはね、私は結構8時間とか結構寝れてる人だから、まあ、これはなんだろう、私の抱負には入らないとは思うけど、まあでもいろんな人は結構周りで4時間しか寝れなかったとかも結構聞くからね、いろんな人が睡眠に困ってるんだなっていう。
Yeah, this is actually I checked in the top 20, and this is not something that listed by anybody. Maybe it's just not represented in the survey data, but having like resetting your or improving your sleep cycle is not something that is done here. And it's not that I think it isn't on the conscious of the American conscious, but yeah, I think we're starting to get some maybe a little more cultural differences here. That is a huge thing. A lot of my friends that I know who are Japanese have terrible sleep schedules, and it's not just because I'm a morning bro. It's just like they will sleep 3 or 4 hours a day, and it just is what they do. I had a friend who, and I think this might be partly because of the commute and because of societal expectations, but it was like 4 hours commuting a day, and finally he moved into an apartment, so he now doesn't have to do that. But I remember it was like 4 hours commuting a day, and he said he normally gets back to his house at like 12, and then he doesn't want to go back to sleep normally immediately, so he stays up till 3 a.m. and then he leaves again at like 5, and then he gets some sleep on the train, and so he basically is actually sleeping for 2 hours maybe, and then he's sleeping partly on the train, because he has 2 hours both ways. And so yeah, I definitely could see that being a thing. And so in the American one, we have actually number 3 is exercising more. This is 21%. The improving physical health was also 21%. So when you get to the top, they get very similar in terms of percentages that selected that this is something their main thing that they're wanting to do in the new year. Or no, I guess it's if they selected it as one of the things they wanted to do. I guess I'll notice something that exercising more is separate from improving physical health, which might be, at least in terms of how they made the survey, kind of signify an American perspective, perspective where like getting exercise is different from, generally improving your physical health, where it could be, sleeping could fall into that, right? Or diet could also fall into that. So
これ見てて気になったのは、アメリカのバージョンのアンケートだと結構なんて言うんだろう、対人関係、フレンドシップであったり家族とのリレーションシップだったりのその項目が結構上がってて、でもこれ多分アンケートの取り方もちょっと影響してるのかなって思った。なんかそのアメリカのアンケートの まあグラフの下になんか当てはまるやつには全部そのなんだチェックしてねみたいな書いてあるじゃん。だけど多分日本のやつのアンケートの取り方ってどうだったんだろう。多分それのおかげのせいで多分日本のランキングの中に家族を大事にするとか友達を大事にするとかの項目がすんごい少ないっていうか、そういう系が少ない気がする。なんか全部自分のことに関してな気がする。
Oh yeah, once we get past like the top 5, I'm gonna talk a little bit some of the. I think the ones that aren't at the top are actually more culturally specific. But let's get to here. So wait, we did number three on that one. What is number 2 on the Japanese list?
Number 2は、筋トレタクトレっていうのは家でやるなんていうのセルフトレーニングみたいな、ジムにわざわざ行かなくてやるトレーニングのことで、タクトレはなんか大体あんまりなんていうんだろう複雑な、器具を使わないでただのダンベル、アマゾンとかで買えるような感じのダンベルだけを使って全身鍛えるみたいな感じのやつ。
I will say that I've noticed this trend, and you know what? I'm not going like all exercise is great, supporting you all out there, but I've noticed, I think across culturally, America as well, this whole like lifting fad, like lifting, rock climbing, all this upper body muscle fixation, which has been a thing, obviously historically speaking, but I feel like it's like a re-emergence, and I always don't understand why. Just body weight training isn't more common. We're just using your own body. Why do you need? I've done like obviously for when I was training more like seriously for track. I've done the whole thing, but most people, and even you can get extremely like yoked just using your own body from push-ups, pull-ups, and other stuff. And so
なんかその多分自重っていうのはその自分の体重だけしか使わないやつなんだけど、自重だとそこまで大きくなれないんだよ。けどその例えばダンベルとかなんていうか知らないけどウェイトリフティングで使う感じのやつだと自重プラスのエクストラのものを使ってるから、その重さに耐えられるだけの筋肉を自分の体が作ろうとするからよりビッガーになるし、よりマッスルマスが増えるんだよ。
Well, for one, a lot of the like gaining muscle is a response to, for one, it's like a lot of it's diet. Actually, so it's diet and like muscle stress. So you don't necessarily, you will get, if you were doing like 100 push-ups a day or pull-ups, you would start getting like bigger muscles. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I do agree that's the case. But if we're talking about, maybe this is my thing. I'm just saying it's like a yoked or a truly big Japanese guy is like a unicorn. So if they really, I would just give up on the getting huge yoked. In terms of, I'm not saying it's not possible and you can totally do it, but I just don't think. Do you think that's even a body type that Japanese people are wanting? Because
いやでも一人さ私がしてる中でアメフトやってるしてる人がいて、でその人は結構もうなんかめっちゃビッグなんだよね。同じローテーションチームの中にいるんだけど、結構その人結構バフっていうのかな、なんかすごい大きくて、でジムにも通ってんだよ。まあもちろん。で、結構プロテインばっか飲んでるイメージなんだけど。
when I'm thinking of like going to the gym to get muscles that you're getting really yoked, I'm thinking the only thing that you really need if you want to get like that is if you want to have like those like your like melon style muscles, like all the, even like the most, let's say, buff Japanese dudes I've seen, you could still do that with body weight. Like running and body weight could totally get like a very very yoked shredded.
だから例えばそういう自重のやつをやってる人だとシュレデッドなんかリーンみたいな感じなんだけど、そのエクストラのジムでその鍛えてる人たちはなんかビッグになるんだよ。だってそれだけさ筋肉が支えられないから、その重さに対して。だから筋肉がこうやって、例えば100キロ上げて100キロに耐えられないと筋肉がちぎれるじゃん、筋肉の繊維が、ファイバーがね。でそれを修復しようとして、じゃあ次に100キログラム上げれるようにって言って体が筋の繊維を修復して増やしていくの。そうするとビッグになっていく。
No, I'm aware, but I'm saying you don't actually need you don't need the like, although it helps a lot, you don't technically need more weight just to like tear down and rebuild your muscle fibers. Like especially like there's plenty of like pretty intense like body weight stuff that will definitely cause.
なんだこれはマッスル
I don't
ー
know.
ズ
Or just, well, anyways,
語る
okay,
とこに
okay, okay. So, number 2. Oh, I love this one. This is wholesome. Americans being happy. But I will now criticize it by saying, okay, let's put that into actually, how do we, I can hear shockox in my head. If this is a resolution, how are we going to achieve that? Like, is that a resolution? Just being happy? Maybe that's the most
なん
American
か
thing.
いい
I'm
目
gonna-
標だと思うよ。
No, but
なんか具体的じゃないけどね。
yeah, no, exactly. My point is this, or maybe this is like a libertarian American stance where it's saying, just choose being happy. If you're sad, just be happy. Maybe that's what they're saying. They're like, oh, I'm sad next year. I'll just choose to be happy.
なんかこの項目 being happy っていうのはさ、すごいなんていうんだろう、まあ具体的じゃないけど、まあなんていうの、いい目標かなとは思うけど、なんか例えばさ、まあ日々の生活の中でいろいろな、まあ、選択があるわけじゃん。このお菓子食べようかな、食べないかなとか、ここで歩くか、いやタクシー使っちゃおうとかっていう、まあいろいろな選択があるわけじゃん。で、この being happy っていうその、まあ、目標を持ってるとさ、この後自分がどうしたらどっちの選択をしたらよりハッピーになるのかなっていう想像するとさ、歩いた方がなんか景色いいし、なんか天気もいいから絶対自分ハッピーになるなとかね、考えられるじゃん。
I like thinking of this instead as this is like, it's like imagine, more walking. It's like more happy. So you replace your walking. You say, okay, I've been walking too much this year. Replace all your walking time with being happy time. Where you're like, okay, this is normally where I'd walk. And instead, you just sit there and you be happy. That's
あとこれさ、多分なんかまあコロナとかもあってさ、結構なんだろう、まあなんていうの、人とのディスタンスがさ、ちょっとね、多くなっちゃったみたいな、まあ時期だったじゃん。去年じゃなくて、まあ、去年、まあその前、一昨年とか。だからそれもあるし、あとなんか、なんけな、デプレッション持ってるなんか人がもう何倍かになったみたいなね。
Yeah, well, I mean, my biggest critique is this does not really give me this is like be fluent as a goal. We're like, okay, cool, or be big yoked as a goal, which or something. Where it's like we need the steps here. Okay, the number 1 for Japan.
Number 1は
very funny that you just did that.
早寝早起きをするということで、早寝早起きってさ、なんか人によってもなんか定義が違う気がするんだけど、まあ私はまあ、毎日だいたい5時ぐらいに起きて9時ぐらいに寝るんだよ。でこれを言うと、おばあちゃんみたいな生活してるねとか、なんか健康児だねとかって言われるんだけど、結構みんな周り聞いてると、寝るのはもう12時越すのが当たり前で、起きるのはまあ7時とか、まあそれがまあ普通のなんていうんだっけ、ウィークデイってなんていうんだっけ、平日で週末はもうお昼の12時超えるまで起きないとか結構周りでいるから、まあね、まあ理解できる、早寝早起きみんなしたいんだなっていう。
I'm interested in how this differs from, where was it? The swimming kaizen from hayane hayaoki. They seem related, which is like going to sleep early, waking up early, like doing that consistently is, I feel like, a swimming kaizen. Or it could be a lot of people, like I said, who maybe their sleep is good, but they'd rather be a morning person. I know I think you've tried. I feel like I am like whatever biological science, because I know there's some people who are apparently actually night persons. I am like the most morning, like in the morning my brain is on. You hit like noon, even 11:30. I am now dead. And I mean like AM. We haven't gotten to the PM yet. Like 5 a.m. maximum Joey. Like I can wake and be like, yes, all the energy. Hit 11:30, I'm like, oh wow, we're basically at 9 p.m. in my head. You get to 4 p.m., I'm double dead. You want me to do anything at 5 p.m., I like brain doesn't function anymore. And so by the time you get over 9 p.m. or like 8 p.m., I'm just dead. But with you like, I think you like, your heart wants to be a morning person, but I think you're like,
I am morning person.
You're like a noon person.
No way. 違うし、なんでじゃあ最近9時ぴったりになんか寝ることができなくて、で一時期なんか4時起きで8時寝とかも普通にあったんだよ。でその時はなんか もう朝の起きた瞬間から勉強みたいな感じだったんだけど、だって冬だとね、日が昇るのがさ、7時ぐらいなんかな ?7 時ぐらいになっちゃうとなんか体がなんかスイッチ入らないんでね。やっぱり日光を浴びるのって結構なんて言うんだろう。completely woke up の状態になるのになんか必須な感じがある。
In America, there's a really big like sleep optimization industry, and so there are curtains that you can get that like you block off obviously sunlight, like dead shut sunlight, but then they let in light or produce artificial light at a consistent time throughout the entire year between opening the curtains and artificially producing light, so you always have the same light coming in at the same at whatever time you want.
That's what ブライアン・ジョンソンがやりそうな。
Yeah, probably.
やってるよ。
And then also there's like one where also it cools down your bed while you're sleeping and then it heats it back up slowly. I was watching something about that as well. I'd be interested in trying it out. And the number one, that was the number one. It's crazy. The number one for the American survey was saving more money, which makes perfect sense given how rough it has been, although the economy is getting better, supposedly. I will tell you I have no clue, just straight up no clue how the average U.S. citizen affords anything or even finds a place to live. I recently was looking at this, and maybe Californians are like, from what I understand, unless like the average listener or whatever, I don't know exactly how our demographics look on this, but in California, if you make below $115,000, you're apparently a low wage person, like a family, like a low wage family, a low income family, under $115,000.
115,000 っていうのは1500、じゃ違う、2000万ぐらいってことか。多分。日本円だと。2000万って言ったら日本だとね、doctor とか、lawyer とか、あと、社長、CEO とかの感じだと思うよ。
Yeah, no, that's my point is like you basically
you can't live.
No, you're if you make that, it's not like you're equal to Dr. Japan. It's like the poor people, the low income are equal to doctors in Japan. Like not even the people who are just living, it's the low income families. The people just, and so I really don't understand like it's insane. But so I will say that don't be so hard on yourselves, Americans. It's our country wants us to be poor, so you're doing exactly what our country wants.
でもね、ニューヨークのさ、病院でローテーション1ヶ月だけしたので分かったけど、すんごい医療の質はさ、リッチピーポーにとってはすごいいいけどさ、本当にローインカムの人たちにとってはなんていうの、行ける病院も限られてくるし、あとトリートメントだってメディケーションもさ、収入によってもう制限されちゃうから、すんごい医療費の格差、医療サービス、受けられるサービスの格差っていうのすごいなと思ってね。
I mean, literally outside the hospital complex that Amy went to, there are two hospital complexes back to back, and they're almost like touching each other. And then right outside of that, it looks like you're walking out in like an I Am Legend zombie apocalypse film, where like all the stores look like they've been like had all their windows broken, and the sidewalk looks like it hasn't been repaired in like 50 years, and there are homeless people, and you're like, this is directly outside the hospital. And then but right up to the parking lot, it's this perfect green grass the whole way through, a little park inside. And then I will say that some outside the top 5 that I wanted to touch on, which, just shouts out to how awesome America is. 13% of people said paying down debts. I feel that. Shout out to my other Americans. This is focusing on spiritual matters. I feel like that's also interesting. Was there anything like that in the Japanese version? Anything spiritual?
Spiritual.
Could be religious, I'm assuming, as well.
何ペインデッツは別にスピリチュアルじゃないじゃ
No.
ん。
Well, it affects the spirit, but no. I'm saying another was it? So paying debts was 13% of respondents. Where is it? 12% focusing on spiritual matters more. So probably pertaining to religion or
そういうことね。それはさすがだって多分ないよ。今ご存知の通り日本はさ、無宗教とかの人が多いじゃん。マジョリティじゃん。だからなんかそういう系のはランキングの中には入ってないけど。
Oh, also another one. Two different ones, 13% and 15%. Spending more time with family, improving relations with families or friends.
でそれが日本のやつには入ってないんだよ。だからそれ多分アンケートの取り方がちょっと違うのかなと思って。
Yeah, if that isn't a goal, I feel like that should be a goal for every Japanese person. That's not. I feel like there's especially the family, the family Japanese like or this I think East Asian in general. And I'm culture something, but people aren't close with their family. It's like it's like the coldest ice relationships I've ever met.
あれじゃあなんかアメリカだとなんかネイバーとかとさ結構なんか話したりさ誰が住んでるとかってわかるじゃん。確かそうだよね。
It depends where you're living. Where I'm living, I wouldn't say that. In Panama, people are super close, I would say. In Japan, I feel like people are more closer with their neighbors than they are with their family, personally speaking. Like, you have all these expectations. You have to go introduce yourself. You have to, you keep up appearances. And you go, ohayo gozaimasu. But with your family, like...
なんかね、それはね、どちらかというと、まあ、年取ってる人、まあ、おじいさんおばさんとかが結構、こんにちはとかね、会うときやったりとか、あと田舎の人たちね。けど、多分東京とか、まあ、都会に行けば行くほど、まあ、マンションとかアパート住むじゃん。で、隣の人にはなんか挨拶しないとかなんだよ。なんでかっていうと、なんか一つは、まあ、あんまり、交流を持ちたくないっていうのと、もう一つがなんか、挨拶することで逆になんか犯罪に巻き込まれちゃうみたいな。なんかよくわかんないけど。で、そういったことであんまり挨拶する人が、減ってきてるっていうのは聞いた。特に若者。
I mean, there's so much I want to say about Japan's, we'll call it policing and legislation. And I just literally had a new video idea in my head that I'm probably going to write down after this. But I'll save those thoughts for later. We will be talking about our specific New Year's resolutions in the final section of the episode. But let us know, what are yours? 戻りました。
We are back.
今日とても悲しいことが起こります。それは何でしょう？
So it's how do you say, closing day of my favorite restaurant.
まあ一番好きなのかな。でもすごくそのトップ3とかトップ2この街のレストラン。
Yeah. So I guess it's a family-owned restaurant, and they offer Japanese food, especially it's famous for seafood don, kaisen don, but also they offer a lot of Japanese dishes like shogayaki, pork ginger yaki, or karaage, or there's many stuff. But yeah, it's been 57 years since they opened the restaurant, and then the reason they had to decide to close the restaurant was because the owner, Oji-chan, is too old to continue. So maybe that's the main reason. And then they posted that they were gonna close the restaurant because they wanted to go to the next stage for him.
大事、言わなくちゃいけないことは、このレストランは家族だけのレストランで、なんていうか、ずっと多分娘さんとなんかおばあさんとおじいさん、全員一緒に働いてるって感じで、店を継ぐ人が見つけられなかったらしくて、見つけられなかったというのは多分娘はやりたくなかったかな。わかんないけど。
Yeah, they're helping. So I don't know. Like, yeah, I think they can continue, but I guess
もうこの時代なんだ、物の哀れ。謎だけど、こういうような経験はすごくなんか独特で、あまり感じたことないから、もちろんアメリカではそういう57年間同じ人57年前に働いてて、この店を作って働いてて、ついにこういうようなことが終わるのはなんか初めて経験できてよかったって感じ。
Also, like the value we can get at this place is insane. Like there's like a huge kaisendon, and then beside the kaisendon, there are like a couple of kobachi, like small plates, which are like karaage, miso soup, and Japanese how do you say? おしんこ。
Pickled
so,
vegetables. いろいろな。
Yeah. And sometimes they have like extra stuff on the side. And it's only 1,200 to 1,300, I guess.
Yen.
Yeah, yen. So it will be probably under $10 in American dollars.
コスパは最高ってこと。まあそれはもちろん大事な点としてはね、もうすぐ店がなくなっちゃうから美味しい海鮮丼食べられないかもしれないけど、他のなんかすごく大事なところは、この店はこの町のなんか一部となってる。その都会と違ってなんか田舎の町だと、そのそれぞれの道っていう店とそれぞれのなんか店の店長はお互い知ってる。なんかお互いの名前、なんかよくなんかそこに行ったりここに来たりみたいなことがたくさんあるから。で店の人だけじゃなくてみんなこのなんか辺りに住んでる人たちも店長なんかの名前知っている。店長と毎日話しているかもしれない。なんかまあ居酒屋だから、まあ、名前は居酒屋、まあ、名前というかなんていう定義、まあ、私は居酒屋だと思わないけどコスパ最高だから。でもそういうような店がなくなるとその多くの人たちが自分のなんか居場所をなくす可能性があるから、なんか毎晩なんか私のホーストファザーその京都に留学してた時が毎晩同じことをやっていて、なんかある友達その毎金曜日になんか特に一つの店に行って、みんなと一緒に酒を飲んだり食べ物を食べたりしてたんだけど、この店は多分この町の田舎の町でなんか多くの人のそういうような場所だった気がする。
It's like the third place actually.
そうそうそう、third place。そう、third place。何でしたっけそのエピソード前。20、30エピソード前かなわかんない。その、第3の場所わかんない。
And I remember I found this restaurant 2 years ago. And the story is, so I was studying with the guy in the same, my guy friend in the same year. And then he suggested to get a kaisen bento, from this place. And then, we had that while studying. And unfortunately, he failed. So he had to repeat the same year. But, yeah. And then after that, I went to this restaurant alone, like, many times, over like 5 times or so. And then I was sitting at the counter and then watching a TV, which was on the wall. And and then also I really liked how the daughter interacted with customers. So she was actually, I guess, she was actually, how do you say, similar age, like probably in her 20s, like 25 or 26, around there. And then she was talking in casual Japanese to any customers. So like, tameguchi, to like, even if a customer is like older than like 80 or something, like, she was like, 何すんの決めた? So I really liked it.
本当に残念本当に残念。なんかなんて言えばいいんだろうね。アメリカではこういうような店がなかなか見つけられない。なんかほとんどの店はなんかフランチャイズ、そうチェーン、3年間ぐらいやっててなんていうか閉店してしまう傾向があるアメリカでは。まあニューヨークでもこういうようななんか30年とか聞いたことあるんだけど、57年間、同じ人。
entire life じゃない。
特になんかこの57年間の違いは、その格差、その57年間前と今の日本、57年前はいつ？
昭和じゃない。
でも特にいつでしたっけ？数学しないと。まあ、とりあえずすごい。なんかいつも日本を思うと、こういう家族が何百年というか何世代が同じことをなんかやり続けていて、すごく スキルを持って、なんか最高の、なんていうか、刀とか、まあ、何でもいいから衝動、なんかできるようになったという話を聞くんだけど、これを初めて、そういうなんか実際に感じて、なんかあるところに行って、このなんか場所はすごいと思って、で、その終わりも感じられるから、まあ、いいかどうかわからないんだけど、まあ、経験できてよかったって言えるぐらいかな。
ね、
お疲れ様でした。
お
疲れ様でした。And we're back with the final section. And if you made to the final section, that means you send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com with a comment, question, language related, and or otherwise. But this week, we want to end the year with our foreshadowed New Year's resolutions. I have some. I have not made them probably as specific as I should, but I will let Ayami start. Ayami, New Year's resolutions, goals for 2024.
はい、じゃあまず2024年の抱負の前に、2023年はどうだったかっていうと、まあ2023年っていろいろ経験した年だったなと思ってて、まあね、まあニューヨークに行ったりで、まあ学校でエクスチェンジプログラムがあって、もう結構もう多分20にはいかないけど、結構エクスチェンジスチューデンツがいろんな国から来て、まあ especially ユーロップの人たちとかね、あと台湾もいたね。そうで、そういった人たちとまあ話して、なんか日本って割と他の国と関わってない国だから、そういう人たちと会うことで、なんかどれだけ狭い世界で暮らしてたんだろうっていうのはなんか気づけたし、なんかもっと世界は広いんだっていうのは、まあ、感じたね。で、もっと英語もね、インプルーブしないとだなっていうのは痛感しました。はい。で、あとはまあローテーションも今年っていうか、まあ、2023年に始まって、確か1月から2023年の1月からずっとやってて、でそれってなんかランダムな人たちと一緒にグループになるのね、ローテーションのチームっていうのがもう本当にランダムだから、普段なんかあんまり話さない人とか、本当に一回も話したことない人と一緒になったりとかっていうのもあって、で初めはなんか全然なんかまあ初めましてって感じで、なんかあんまり喋れなかったけど、でもなんかその1年間一緒にローテーションしていくうちに、まあ仲良くなったり仲良くならなかったり、まあいろいろあってでまあね、そういったことでなんかいい経験っていうのはしたかな。はい。でまあ2024年の目標っていうのは、そうね、抱負ね、抱負は resolution ね、by the way。
aspirations かな。
aspiration
Yeah. I think literal translation, sort of.
まあ2023年が結構なんて言うんだろう、自分自身なんかだらけちゃった部分っていうのもあったんだよ。なんか結構ローテーションってなんか意外と時間があったり、まあない時もあるんだけどねっていうのもあって、なんか本来できるとかやるべきだったことを結構なあなあにしてきたっていうのもあったから、まあそういうところまあ冷たいっていうのと、あとまあ来年はまあ国家試験ナショナルエグザム、ドクターズライセンスのナショナルエグザムっていうのがあるから、まあそこはねちゃんとね取っていかないといけないし、まあでもずっと勉強だけじゃダメだから、今持ってるまあね仲いい友達とかまあ家族とかとのそのちゃんとまあソーシャライズしてまあ仲を深めていけたらいいなっていうのは思います。はい。なんかちょっと真面目だな。
I mean, I don't know. Good Japanese listening practice for many people, probably. My 2023, I definitely would characterize my 2020 to 2023 whole experience as very rough. In 2023, I feel like hopefully in the context that will be a turning of a leaf to a better tomorrow, we can say. Obviously, some of the stuff I talk about in the podcast, the majority I would say I don't talk about in the podcast, but I definitely think that there was like a lot of good stuff. Obviously, just like last year, I'm happy I was able to make it to Japan. But I am definitely not content with... I had to balance a lot more things at the same time than I normally have to do, which is why, like, if anybody wonders, I mean, maybe you probably don't even think about it outside of when a video releases or that much, but at least for me, like, you know, why like 3 months passes and you're like, what, Joy even working on a main channel video? It's just like, I'm doing stuff like every like hour of the day. I just have normally way too much stuff on my plate. And this year I felt like was really maximizing that at some point, at some points. And I feel like we're getting to a point where I'm starting to find finally a little like getting a little better at being able to maximize small amounts of time that I do have. And for me, like one of the biggest goals I'm actually trying to make objective is like, I mean, I could say this about anything. I always complain. Like I really like reading, but I never found myself reading. There's a whole thing I wanted to talk about people who are reading. I don't know if I mentioned it. Maybe I did mention it on the podcast, how everybody's recommending this show that's coming out this season. But I finally forced myself to read it when we went to this ofuro cafe called Sousou no Frieren, which is, I don't know what the English title is, but it's called Sousou no Frieren in Japanese. And I was like, wow, I really enjoy reading. I remember I really enjoy reading. And it's not like I don't read stuff, but it just been a while since, I guess, especially read just like a manga just for fun. In my head, I'm always kind of used to choosing something that is intrinsically difficult. But obviously, the better you get at language stuff, the less that is there. And then I'm like, now I realize this is kind of anything I read. I'm like, wait, Joe, you can just enjoy it. You can just enjoy reading. And I was like, oh yeah, I really do like reading. And then I also tried, you know, playing more video games than I did before and finding time for it, which you think, yeah, you're making that resolution, Joe, you have a problem. For me, I love doing, I'm like my heart of hearts, I was always a gamer, but like never, every time I have free time, my buddy's like, Joey, why are you not doing this? Why are you not editing something? What are you not doing? And so I'm trying, but at the same time, I feel like almost chilled out too much, especially coming to Japan with like doing stuff. And I just have not been on my ball as much as I want to be with the main channel. Like, I want to take it way more seriously than I am. So I guess one of my biggest goals is to like actually set mini goals, like for like hours or 2 hours or parts of the day, so that I can like more effectively, like if I'm going to edit, I'm going to try to get to this portion done. And guys, I am working on a video. I am excited about it, but a little more patience, please. My problem is that as I get more and more idea of what kind of videos I want to make, I kind of increase the bar's mental standard for myself. And that also includes like, and then I also get more critical in watching and rewatching it over, like in like small stuff with the audio, like effects, animation, like script and other stuff like that. And so, it's weirdly, my videos are both getting longer, but also every minute of like editing is also getting longer, which is not really where I want to be at. So I'm trying to find a way that, I guess one of my big goals is to see if I can find a way of balancing higher effort videos with videos that are also, you know, not saying they're low effort, but more manageable to get out, that I'm also really proud of, which, yeah, I guess we'll see. I have some thoughts about how I can do that, but yeah, those are kind of my thought in terms of like, I don't know, health or exercise goals. I feel like, I wish I had more. Like, I feel like especially when I did track, there's something that somebody called in that they were talking, or somebody messaged in about the person from New York who also was a runner. Like, how do you keep up running afterwards? And it's like, it's weird because I'm not out of shape. I would be considered probably in pretty good shape compared to most people, but, and I do run consistently, but, it definitely feels weird when you're not actually feeling exhaustion, and getting like feeling that runner's high. So I haven't decided yet, but maybe I want to actually start trying to bring up the pace or something to challenge myself, because I don't think I've been tired in a run. The only thing that happens when we ran the half marathon, I just hurt, like physically, but I don't say like aerobically I was fine.
一個追加して、抱負まあ、やりたいことはね、ちょっと、やっぱ、今年、2023年に今、ハーフマラソンやって、ウルトラじゃない。フルマラソンちょっと挑戦してみたいなっていうのは、やっぱ、なんか、あったね。なんか、ハーフとフルマラソンって、なんか、やっぱ違うと思うんだよ。だって、ハーフって 21. なんとかでしょ。で、フルって 42.6 か。で、 まあね、2倍あるからそれだけね、なんか練習も多分しないといけないし、で、まあゴールした時の、なんていうんだ、達成感っていうともう多分2倍ね、味わえると思えるから、まあフルマラソンね、やってみたいっていうのはあるけど、でもやっぱり、聞いてる話とか、まあ調べてみると、なんか、last year of med school っていうのが結構なんか、勉強みたいなの書いてあって、なんか1日平均で10時間は勉強しないといけないとか書いてあったの。それできるかなっていうのと、それとプラスでなんか自分がやりたいこととか、メンタリ的に、なんていうの、ステーブルな状態を保てるのかっていうのが、まあ、結構課題になるから、そこら辺は、なんだろうね、試行錯誤ね、模索しながら、やっていきたいな。
I guess I can see. Yeah. Once again, let us know what your New Year's resolutions will be. Did I miss anything that I now here I'm having time to reflect on adding more? Ooh, nah. I think generally it's always like in my head it's always like less of adding a new thing and more like more of things I'm already doing. We'll see. I don't know. Every year there seems to always be something new that comes up. So excited for 2024. Oh, you know what? I guess reconnect with some friends. I guess that's another goal that I'll put there. That from like my college and other years. I feel like ever since the pandemic, especially because I never really finished like college with my friends, because I got kicked out into doing everything online. Like actually physically in person, finding a way to meet up with some of my friends. Probably a good idea. Yeah, so let us know your news resolution. Thank you for listening this year, especially even listening from the very beginning of the year. Our love and appreciation.
今待って98エピソードで、あと2つで100いっちゃうよ。
Yeah, I don't know if we have any 100 episode
なんかお祝いしないとな。
but we'll think about it, maybe. But then we might be busy. I don't know. I think by that point it might be right like the days before I go back to the United States. So we'll see what happens. That bell means we reached the end of today's episode. Thanks for joining us in another lazy conversation towards fluency. If you have any language-related questions and are looking for general advice, send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com. You might respond next episode. Also, make sure to check out podcasts on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more. We'd appreciate the support. This has been Joey.
And Ayami.
Signing off.
じゃあねー。
Happy New Year's.